And now, from Norwich, it's the Quiz of the Week.
Hello. We are not live. We are not from Norwich, but we are the Quiz of the Week. I'm Oliver Colling, and this is the My 70s TV Childhood Quiz. Hello, and a very warm welcome back to My 70s TV Childhood and the My 70s TV Childhood Quiz. We are a quiz to test your knowledge of 1970s TV trivia and to look back on subjects we've covered in the My 70s TV Childhood podcast. If you haven't listened to the podcast, then all I can say is why not? It's a bit like a Paul Masson California carafe, so it's really jolly good. What have happened to those carafes you could buy in every supermarket? Very classy they were, I seem to remember. Anyway, our quiz is just for fun and is made up of 20 questions across 4 rounds. I'm pleased to say that lots of you have been in touch following our last quiz, which was themed around 1970s summer holidays, and the TV that was trotted out time and time again to keep us amused. The good news is that many of you reported high scores, and many of you loved looking back at the holiday schedules. Now, reading between the lines, I think that means that the quiz might have been a bit too easy, but you'll be the judge of that. If you want to share your scores or get in touch about any other aspects of the quiz, you can do so by dropping me a message to quiz@my70stvchildhood.com or by leaving a comment on our blog at www.my70stvchildhood.com. We're also on lots of your favourite social media channels. So on to today's quiz. Grab a pen and pencil and away we go. And our first round today is called Quiz Inquisitor, and it's about the hosts of some 70s quiz and game shows. Question 1. Fred Dinenage, who gets mentioned regularly on our podcast, mainly because of his role in How, also filled in for Dickie Davies on World of Sport and read the news on Southern TV. But he hosted a game show based on blackjack or pontoon. What was it called? Question 2. Who was the slightly scary host of the children's quiz show Runaround? Question 3. Magnus Magnusson was unforgettable as the host of BBC's Mastermind. But what nationality was he? Question 4. A question of sport, arguably in my opinion had its heyday in the 1970s. Who was the host of the show for 2 stints during the 70s from 1970 to 72? And then again from 1974 to 1977. And question 5. Who's the host of Granada's multi-format mental and physical test show, The Krypton Factor, which launched in 1977? How do you find that for starters? Without further ado, let's go on to round 2. And this is our Fil Rouge round, which asks a number of questions based on previous editions of our podcast. Good luck, everybody. Question 1. In January, we put a bit of a damper on the Christmas spirit by looking back at Survivors. Who created the show? Question 2. As I mention on the podcast fairly regularly, I was brought up in the northwest of England, and I often refer to the local ITV franchise. What was it? So who was the franchisee for ITV in the northwest of England during the 1970s? Question 3. March 2022 saw us looking back at Hong Kong Phooey. What was the name of the telephone operator in the police station in Hong Kong Phooey? Question 4. In July 2021, we considered TV ghosts, including those featured in Rent-A-Ghost. What was the name of the man whose death was at the heart of the first series? And question 5. In our recent episode about Crackerjack, we remembered one of the hosts who is also the host of the BBC radio show Junior Choice. Who was he? And we're halfway through already, so let's go on to round 3. And this week we have a special game show themed edition of our Name That Tune round. Regular listeners will be pleased to know that our AI-powered theme tune generator has recovered from the recent CrowdStrike global IT outage, but our specially constructed Wheel of Fate is out of service due to an outbreak of woodworm at my 70s TV childhood towers. If you're a new listener, then just bear with us, or we'll become clear. I'll punch 70s UK game shows into our AI-powered random theme tune generator, and here we are. 5 theme tunes for you to identify. And here's theme tune 1. Pretty easy, that one, but I do like it. And on to theme tune 2. And theme tune 3. And let's go on to theme tune 4. Bit trickier, that one, I think. And finally, theme tune number 5. So how was that? I hope you're doing well so far. And here we are at our final round already. And this round is our TV Times general round. Although this week, all the questions are, not surprisingly, related to quiz and game shows. Question 1. Name that tune. Originally started as a 15-minute segment hosted by Tom O'Connor in which ITV show? Question 2. Who was the voice of the instant sale on Sale of the Century? Question 3. Michael Rodd hosted the children's TV film-related show Screen Test, but what other popular TV show did he appear on during the 1970s? Question 4. Celebrity Squares was a very popular game show featuring Bob Monkhouse with a group of celebrities in a huge noughts and crosses board. Who provided the voiceovers for the show? And question 5. In which show would contestants say up a bit, left a bit, right a bit? And there we are. All done. Now, whilst you're checking your answers, let's go to last week's bonus question. I asked you about the Monkees, which was regularly shown on holiday TV during the 1970s, but can you name them all? And I did ask you not to cheat. And the answer to that is Davy Jones, Mickey DeLentz, Peter Tork, and Michael Nesmith. So well done if you got that right. And now on to this week's bonus question. Going back to the sale of the century, the show achieved the highest ever rating for an ITV game show when an incredible 21.2 million viewers watched the show on the 22nd of December 1978. What was the unusual thing that happened to boost viewer numbers? If you know the answer, let me know by emailing quiz@my70stvchildhood.com. Okay, let's go on to this week's answers. Our first round quiz inquisitors. Fred Dinage, as well as filling in for Dickie Davies on World of Sport and reading the news on Southern TV, hosted a game show based on blackjack or pontoon. What was the game show called? It's called Gambit. Question 2. Who was the slightly scary host of the children's quiz show Run Around? And I'm sure many of you remember this one. It was Mike Reed. Question 3. Magnus Magnusson, the host of BBC's Mastermind, was unforgettable, but what nationality was he? Well, even though he did speak with largely a Scottish accent, he was actually Icelandic. Question 4. Who's the host of Question of Sport for 2 stints during the 1970s, from 1970 to 72, and then again from 1974 to 1977? It was David Vine. And question 5. The host of The Krypton Factor, which launched in 1977, was Gordon Burns. Okay, on to round 2. Our marathon Fil Rouge. Question 1. We looked at Survivors. And who created the show Survivors? That was Terry Nation. Question 2. Who held the franchise for North West England? For ITV? And that was Granada. Question 3. What was the name of the telephone operator in Hong Kong Fooey? That's Rosemary. Rosemary the telephone operator. Question 4. What was the name of the man whose death was at the heart of the first series of Rent-A-Ghost? And that was Fred Mumford. And question 5. In our recent episode about Crackerjack, we remembered one of the hosts, who was also the host of the BBC radio show Junior Choice. And who was it? It was Ed Stewpot Stewart. All right, on to our Name That Tune round. Theme Tune 1 was fairly recognisable, I hope, as University Challenge. Theme Tune 2 shouldn't have been that tricky, given that it actually gives the show's title in the extract that I played. That was The Sky's the Limit with Huey Green. Question 3, Call My Bluff, of course. And question 4, well, that was the theme tune to Run Around. And question 5, great tune that, well, that was the theme tune to Top of the Form. All right, on to round 4. Name That Tune originally started as a 15-minute segment hosted by Tom O'Connor in which ITV show? And that was Wednesday at 8. Question 2. Who was the voice of the instant sale on Sale of the Century? And that was John Benson. Question 3. What other popular show did Michael Rodd, the host of Screen Test, appear on? And that was Tomorrow's World. Question 4. Celebrity Squares is a very popular game show featuring Bob Monkhouse. Who provided the voiceovers for the show? That was Kenny Everett. And question 5, in which show would contestants say up a bit, left a bit, right a bit? And that was The Golden Shot. So how did you do? Are you ready to play for the car in the Sale of the Century, or are you left with only a blankety-blank checkbook and pen for comfort? However you've done, I really hope you've enjoyed our little quiz. We'll be back in a fortnight with our next quiz, and in a week's time with the next edition of our podcast. So until then, take care, be nice to each other, and don't forget to join us again soon for more from My 70s TV Childhood and the My 70s TV Childhood Quiz.